On today's show, I'm joined by Derek Paton, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for the Heritage Classic Foundation. That's the organization behind the RBC Heritage Presented by Boeing, one of the PGA Tour's signature events and a long-time tradition here on Hilton Head Island. Derek has spent more than 2 decades in sports marketing, sponsorship strategy, and event leadership, with previous roles at Wasserman and Catalyst Sponsorship Consulting before joining the Heritage Classic Foundation in 2016. In this conversation, we talk about the impact of the RBC Heritage on the Lowcountry, the relationships that help make an event of this scale possible, and how sports, business, and community all intersect in meaningful ways. If you enjoy conversations like this, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with someone who may find value in it. Hey, Derek, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom, for having me.
So I usually just jump right into it. For me, I love to hear about jobs and work. So tell me your first job and go from there.
Okay, I was just a youngster and I started with a paper route.
Oh, so did I.
Did you really?
Loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hopefully built a little bit of responsibility. I remember trying to skirt the system a few times. So they'd give you those extra flyers to do and try and tuck them away. And so
All kids do.
yeah, good. I'm glad it wasn't the only one.
We did it too.
But yeah, threw that bag over your shoulder and walked around the neighborhood, and then you had to go, and I remember you had to go and collect the money.
Yeah.
And that was part of the job that, funny enough, was not the most enjoyable.
Oh, is that right?
Right. It was like
Good.
an extra step of responsibility. So throwing the papers was easy, but talking to the homeowners
Right.
and getting the money was the tough part, which at the end of the day is the end goal.
Yeah.
Just get a little money in your pocket. So,
But what about when you got that dime tip?
right.
Remember those, or a quarter tip in those days? You're wow, and you're young. Oh, this is great.
Right, that was real special.
Yep.
And I grew up in Canada, so that dime was even more valuable.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's a very Canadian thing to say. Right. And then from there, what else?
From there, in high school, I worked for Home Hardware, which is like your local Ace Hardware. Started out just doing the back of the warehouse thing, putting together the barbecues, bringing the stock out onto the shelves, and then transitioned into more on the floor experience. So different.
Moving on up.
Yeah, it gave me an opportunity to speak with people who needed something, help them navigate the shelves or the floor and where the products were. Even gave me a little bit of insight into some of the specialty, I don't call it, what the fertilizer was used for. You'd had to learn the product, try and help the client or the customer get to that sort of thing. And then from a customer service, answering the phones and talking to the folks that may be disgruntled about a product they received that didn't work for them or a return. So a lot of customer service work throughout high school. Throughout college, to try and pay the bills, I installed automatic lawn sprinklers.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades.
Well, that was a lot of digging trenches to start with. Long hours, getting up and getting to work by 7 and coming home, as late as 7, 8 o'clock, working on a crew of 3 or 4. Started out, like I said, kind of as the grunt worker, and then progressed throughout the years as trying to, be the foreman on the crew. But that really paid the bills. It was kind of lucrative as a college.
Yeah. Well, any money is great knowledge. You take whatever you get.
I loved the 12-hour days, because it was a big paycheck at the end of the week.
More to go out with.
That's right. That's right.
So what I notice is a predominant theme for a lot of these interviews is the interpersonal skills, right? So you mentioned you were in customer service. A lot of people were. Just how does that relate and how does that help you now?
Well, I do think that probably starting at a younger age or high school age of interacting on a customer service level, hopefully has transitioned into my current role. As salesperson for a PGA Tour event, I deal in a lot of conversations, a lot of dialogue of what the client's looking for. There's oftentimes where we try and start out a conversation of what's their objective, not so much what we're selling, but hopefully meet that objective.
Yep.
And so hopefully throughout my even early years of having that customer relations experience, hopefully dovetails into listening and then providing a solution at
Yeah.
the end of the day.
So let's get into, so you're with the Heritage Classic Foundation.
Yes.
Right? And you guys sponsor and support the PGA Tour, which is the Heritage,
Yeah, I would say we are the conductors of the Heritage Golf Tournament. And
which, by the way, is great.
thank you.
You guys do a great job.
Thank
Oh, go on. Sorry.
Appreciate it. So we host the event with our partners at the Sea Pines Resort. We have a facility use agreement where we essentially rent the property, rent the space, although we're partners in a lot of different avenues of food and beverage and merchandise and things like that. We have the PGA Tour, which is the overall umbrella entity
Mhm.
of the golf tour, an association, which is really owned by the players.
Yep.
That determine some of the competitions and the scheduling and things like that. Um, and then we go out and acquire sponsorship at the highest level.
Now, are you in charge of that too?
Yes.
Okay.
So as I oversee the sales and marketing department, we kind of talk about we're the offense and our operations team is the defense. Where we work collaboratively to establish our partnership opportunities, our hospitality, our ticketing opportunities, and then we would go out and sell it to the community. And so we're the decision makers in we facilitate the tournament, and then we bring in, like you said, the title sponsor of RBC really comes from a tour negotiating perspective, as well as Boeing, and then all the local entities would come through our office.
Okay. And you've been there 10 years, if I remember reading correctly, right?
Yes, that's right.
Just because I've been here for a while, right? But just the last few years, especially, this tournament, this event has ballooned. Just tell me where it was then, and then what you guys have grown to now.
Sure. And I'm going to go back just a couple of years previous to that because my previous role was also associated with the tournament.
Okay.
I worked with RBC Sports Marketing Agency out of Toronto.
Okay.
So I was on the other side of the boardroom table negotiating on behalf of RBC and their involvement in the tournament. Now, traveling down here on the personal side of things, I met my wife, who's local from here. Actually, you would say grew up here.
Yeah, which you don't get a lot of air. Yeah.
And the conversations about the future, I don't think she ever was going to make the journey up to Toronto.
Yeah, no.
Those cold winters. So we were very fortunate, given kind of my my sports management background, that an opportunity opened up at the Heritage Classic Foundation at just the right time for me to transition to join the Heritage Classic Foundation as an employee.
Okay, that's great.
And then back to how the tournament's kind of evolved, we were progressing, I think, quite well leading into COVID.
Yep.
Of course, COVID hits and the world changes a little bit. And I think it probably gave us an opportunity to reset. RBC continues to step up in a very heavy manner of support for the tournament. In their negotiations, things changed at the tour a little bit with the Live Golf competition.
There's probably more changes coming with that.
Potential, yes.
It's a whole nother conversation.
That's right. It allowed for the tour to make some decisions or compete with the Live.
Are you allowed to say their name?
Yeah, I think so. At this point in where the tour sits and where Live sits, we're fortunate enough to
because we can just call it the other company.
We can do that. We called it the competitive threat for a while, and I don't think that's even relevant knowledge anymore. But with RBC's continued investment and with the tour really identifying some key criteria to identify the hosts of the signature events. Community was one that was incredibly important. The golf course had to be world class, and then having a title sponsor step up to fulfill that investment and obligation. we've been very fortunate enough to ride that wave along with them into what they call the designated event and then signature event over the last couple years.
So it became a signature event the last 2 years, or is it the third year?
This is the third year.
Okay.
Yes. Which what that does is it guarantees us the best players in the world coming to compete at Carver Town, which then generates an incredible amount of viewership and audience and exposure for the community, for the golf
neighbors, yeah.
And so that's really we've tried to improve. We try and improve every year on the client, the experience for everybody that steps foot on the golf course.
And I can see it during the tournament too. And now there's so many more stands that are being set up, which I know that costs a lot more money. But the way that it's organized is really amazing too. And I go every day except Sunday. I always watch Sunday from home. And the way that they portray it on the TV, it's amazing. I can see what others see. So you guys do a great job there.
Thank you. Jim Nance is, we'll take this quote as long as we can, but he always, he may disagree, but he has said that his favorite 3 hours of Masters Week is his drive to Hilton Head. So,
and even if it's not true, it still sounds right. We like it.
So he repeat it between CBS and Mr. Nance. They really do portray our community into what a beautiful community, which what it is. So we take great pride now in trying to, no matter the budget or what you're able to spend on the golf tournament, we're hoping to generate opportunities for you to have fun out there. So our product ladder starts at a $25 ticket for the first couple of days of the week. We have public bleachers on every single hole on the golf course. And then we, depending on your more specific desires to have food and beverage included or other, there's a product, there's a price increase for those things.
So I think most people will be amazed by this. Tell me the purse, how the purse has increased over the years.
So the purse is $20 million a year now as a signature event.
And what's the Masters?
It's 18.
So just to give the viewers an idea, that's 20 million compared to a Masters of 18.
Right. Yeah, all the signature events are around the $20 million mark now, and the majors are in that 18 to 22 range. I think we're all kind of in that same competitive space from a purse perspective. So a lot of the financials of that come out of the investment at the title sponsor level. A lot of the dollars that come generated through the local community do stay in the local community. So purse and broadcast figures go kind of down to Ponte Vedra, and the tour works those things. Any investment in the tournament, whether you're buying a $100 ticket or a $25,000 sponsorship package and beyond, we are a 501c3. We generate our revenue, we pay our bills, and we have dollars that we put back into the community. We do build a reserve fund as well, but for the most part, last year was $4.5 million to local charities.
That's great. Yeah. So expand on that if you don't mind. So you have a specific part, or is it a specific part of the foundation that goes to donating to the community? And don't you also have a scholarship program?
We do. So, my job on the revenue side at our team, the team's collective job on the sales and marketing team would be to generate as much revenue as possible. And we work very closely, as I mentioned, with our operations team to build in that margin, profit, essentially. After we've paid for the buses and the bathrooms and all the flooring.
A lot goes into it, by the way. I don't think people notice that.
It's probably a $25 million in and out type of a business. But what's kind of retained at the end, partially into reserves for any sort of, we're not going to have any more pandemics or anything, but just, those just in case rainy days. And then the other portion of our profits go into a pool of dollars. You mentioned our scholarships. So we do 12 different scholarships a year, $5,000 a year, full rides for 4 years. Although school is getting more and more expensive, so whether that pays for all of the fees,
it helps.
It helps. And then those are all in Beaufort County. So there's about 100 seniors a year, so we receive applicants for, and our our scholars committee goes through a application and interview process to vet and get down to some pretty incredible students that we have in this region. So we have a scholarship program, and then we also have a matching program. So if with close to 100 registered charities. So if you are a 501c3 in the state of South Carolina, you can apply to be a
Okay.
Heritage Classic
Make sure-
Foundation.
Make sure the viewers know that.
Absolutely. And it can be from Greenville or Spartanburg or Charleston. You have to then work a little bit at connecting that tie from your charity back to the tournament. But if my passion was for animals and the Humane Society, instead of making that check out, $100 check out to the Humane Society directly, you make it to the Heritage Classic Foundation, and we put 20% onto that check. And so it turns into $120 for the Humane Society instead. And that drives close to $4 million in charitable contributions.
It's great. Yeah. Now, you're in a position where you have to be out in the community, right? So as a leader, how important do you think being out in the community is? Particularly in your position, but just in general as a business owner or just as a business person in general?
Well, I think it's important. I think it's it depends on how outgoing you are. If it suits how you want to live your life,
The personality.
your personality. I like to meet new people, whether it's going to be beneficial for business or otherwise. And kind of what we're doing here, getting to know somebody new, or I think it's advantageous to build your network and know as many people as you want. I mentioned I just spoke with Lola on the way here because I kind of wanted to curious. Yep, that's right. Curiosity about things, and so having the ability to lean on friends or colleagues, whether it can be beneficial for one party or the other. I think it's good. It's good to, if you are a social person, to kind of build your network in that regard.
Have you ever had any mentors in the business or no?
Yes, my previous boss at the Wasserman Media Group, I lean on him heavily.
Still,
Still,
it's great.
yes,
Yeah, it's important.
yeah. I have a friend a high school friend that grew up together, stayed close, and he's in acquisitions and mergers, far different business than what I am, but we'll talk quite frequently.
Different perspective.
That's right.
It's important.
And whether that's raising kids or business or playing golf or hockey. I'm a big hockey fan. You all make
Surprises.
but and then you generate, again, fortunate in my line of work on a daily basis. I speak with business owners and people at a business level that whether I would consider them mentors or just learn from people every day.
You learn.
How they conduct business or approach different situations.
I always say, and I've said this on some of the previous guests, is I learn most of what I do, I've learned from someone else and just varied it to my personality. So that's why I have this podcast, because I can hear the different stories and it helps me to formulate what my next strategy is. Because maybe I'm on the right path. Maybe I'm not. I've been to I'm in finance, right? Wealth management. I've been to a lot of finance seminars and sessions. And the one thing I always remember had nothing to do with finance. The person up there said, find someone you disagree with and listen to them or read them every day. And I thought about that for a second. You either confirm what you're thinking, or you can find something that maybe you should be doing differently.
Right.
So that's where you get from listening. So
yeah, I think that's a very interesting perspective.
Yeah. So this is a podcast about wealth, right? So we always lead and finish with the question of, how has your definition of wealth evolved over the years, or maybe not? So when you first started working on that paper route, which I could talk for 2 hours about the paper route, by the way, I loved it, but paper route up to where you are now.
Yeah.
Is it the same? Has it changed, and how?
Yeah, those early days were really all about sustainability of what your, of your life. And sustainability meaning, could you afford the Coke bottle coming out of the vending machine? Or could you, like you said, afford to go out on a Friday night, wear those, I don't know, jeans that you wanted and things.
Whatever.
To now with 3 kids and married and living, and I'm certainly paying a mortgage, and but I did kind of get a chance to reflect on it on the way here, and it almost, talking about wealth now almost kind of dovetails into not money anymore, but certainly happiness. What is important in life is certainly the well-being and health of your family and friends. Providing a stable home for the kids, and it's the environment that they are growing up in. And that's probably, not down to dollars and cents quite so much anymore. Although you still work hard.
Of course. And the finance part is, the numbers are still important, but it's amazing how that when you first, I find for me, when I first started working, it was this all about making more money and do well. And then all of a sudden, you're married, you have kids, and then it just starts to become still important, but a little bit less important each year as your family grows. You want to be able to provide for them.
Yeah, I think it's, again, we probably all run budgets and family things and that sort of thing, but it's more of the input versus the output of wealth or happiness. I like that's kind of a necessary to providing what you want to provide.
I'm going to leave it on that. That was a great answer. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see each other in the community.
Sounds good.
Thank you.